Hello friends. Welcome back to my YouTube channel.
In 2022, half of a shark was found washed up on a beach in the Canadian province of Nova Scotia. The shark was cleanly cut in half and looked as though it had been carved in two by a high-powered laser. Some speculated that it was attacked by a much larger fish and bitten in half, but the cut was just too clean. Even those who suggested the shark was divided in two by a propeller are most likely wrong. A propeller would have mangled the shark beyond recognition. But the shark was likely an Atlantic sharpnose, which is a fairly docile shark found in the frigid waters of Atlantic Canada. It was discovered on the beach of Oak Island, considered to be one of the most mysterious islands in the world. Since the 18th century, people have been digging on the island for buried treasure. Some believe the island was used by pirates to bury their stolen valuables. It's the source of many conspiracy theories, and there have even been artifacts found just a few feet from the water. In 1804, excavators uncovered a mysterious stone with an inscription saying that 40 feet beneath the surface is a lost fortune. They also found coconut fibers likely left behind by ropes made 1,500 miles away. Fragments of bones belonging to ancient Middle Eastern people were also discovered. And in 2015, a fisherman reportedly pulled a Roman sword out of the water just off the coast of Oak Island. A skeletal hand was found on the beach in the city of Isla Comprida in November of 2022. This thing looked like a severed alien's hand, and it was absolutely grotesque. The mysterious appendage washed up in Brazil. Some claimed it was the hand of a mermaid, while others suggested that it belonged to an extraterrestrial. But according to marine biologist Eric Komen, the skeleton hand most likely came from a dolphin. If you're wondering how any of this is possible, it's because of the unseen anatomy of dolphins. Inside their pectoral fins is a skeletal structure almost identical to a human arm and hand. In 2022, a gigantic carcass was found washed ashore in South Africa. This was the dead body of a true monster, the closest thing we have to a legendary kraken on this planet. It was a whopping 14 feet long and had 8 tentacles with eyeballs the size of an average dinner plate. Its tentacles were covered in huge suckers, and the beast stared at the curious beachgoers who found it with its giant dead eye. From what we know, the monstrous giant squid washed onto the rocky shoreline at Scarborough Beach in Cape Town during the summer of 2022. And although it was 14 feet long, it was most likely just a baby. 14 feet is nothing for a giant squid. The largest one measured was an astounding 43 feet long, but there could be even bigger squids out there. Scientists say the largest giant squids living in our oceans could be upwards of 66 feet long. After the discovery of the marooned squid, it was identified by Mike Vecchione. He confirmed it as a real giant squid, but couldn't say how it died. Some of the arms were broken off, suggesting the squid may have been the victim of an even bigger and more violent predator somewhere in the deep ocean. A brown, headless creature was found on a beach in Portugal by a British tourist named James Clegg in 2022. According to what James said, it looked like a fish or a mammal. He took some photos and left the monster where it was. Marine biologist Elio Vicente came forward to say the creature was most likely a decomposed, young adult female dolphin. It's possible that the dolphin was attacked by something and wound up on the beach before it started to decay in the sun. But the real story here isn't the corpse on the beach. It's something unknown in the water. Shortly before the body was found in Portugal, another dead dolphin was discovered on a beach in Devon, England. Locals fear there could be an unknown predator lurking in the coastal waters, preying on unsuspecting dolphins. A terrifying creature of disturbing proportions was discovered washed up on a beach in Western Australia in 2018. The unidentified animal was sitting in the sand with what appeared to be dozens of black tentacles surrounding a white, puffy body. It almost looked like a soggy brain with nearly 100 tentacles growing out from its mushy bottom. It wasn't until experts online recognized the creature that it was officially identified as an upside-down sea anemone. It's also called a striped anemone, something that's found in the tropical waters off the Australian coast and can grow to be about the size of a large starfish. These types of marine critters are dark red, but this one may have been bleached white and black because of the sun. As a side note, striped anemones are known for their venomous sting. If you even touch one of their tentacles, it can leave a mark that won't heal for months and will remain itchy and painful. Experts were stumped when a pair of mystery creatures washed up on a beach in North Carolina during the summer of 2022. Both of the critters were 6 inches long, and they kind of looked like sea slugs. They resembled a worm or a big, juicy caterpillar, only they were covered in hair-like bristles. They were found by the Turtle Patrol hiding near a log encrusted with barnacles. There are no images on the internet of similar species, and nobody has been able to make a positive identification. One commenter suggested the creatures were fireworms, also known as bristleworms. If you were to pick up one of these so-called worms with your bare hands, you would be stabbed by dozens of sharp needle-like protrusions, and it would feel like your hands were on fire. On a beach in the United Kingdom, archaeologists with the University of Manchester discovered a shocking collection of ancient footprints in October 2022. These footprints belong to both humans and ancient animals. They date back about 9,000 years, to a time when global sea levels were rising rapidly. The Ice Age was coming to an end, and the ice sheets that once covered the northern hemisphere were turning into water. This resulted in shorelines across the globe being submerged. Experts at the university found the footprint bed on an English beach in Merseyside. They identified the footprints of red deer, wild boars, beavers, lynx, wolves, and aurochs, an extinct species of cattle. The area next to the shoreline was once a hub of animal activity. This would have been following the extinction of some of the more legendary creatures that recently roamed the earth, like woolly mammoths and dire wolves. Craig Andes is a commercial fisherman and an avid beachcomber. He was scrounging around along the shore of Tillamook County in 2019 when he came across old pieces of timber. Something told him that the timber was important and that it likely belonged to a shipwreck. Craig managed to get an archaeological team down to the beach to inspect the timbers. They came across the legendary Spanish galleon, the Santo Cristo de Burgos, sometimes called the Beeswax Ship. Historians already knew the ship sank somewhere along the Oregon coast. They knew this because clumps of beeswax have been showing up on Oregon beaches for at least 2 centuries. The Spanish galleon was carrying a massive cargo of beeswax in 1693 when it crashed and vanished. To this day, we still don't know the exact location of the ship, and we may never know. Archaeologists have just finished investigating the skeletal remains of a man uncovered on the Cornish coast of England. The mysterious skeleton likely belonged to a sailor who died in a shipwreck in the 18th or 19th century. The body was discovered by a member of the public who was wandering along a coastal footpath near New Train Bay, minding their own business. The bones were analyzed and were deemed to be very old, so they were handed over to archaeologists. Initial investigations revealed the remains to be from an adult, someone who did a lot of hard labor in their life. And because the remains were found near a seaside cliff overlooking the beach, it would make sense that the man was a sailor. Around 200 years ago, this person was on a boat when it sank, and his waterlogged body washed onto the shore. Then it was buried in the sand and forgotten. Either that, or he was buried unceremoniously at the cliffs following the destruction of his ship. This was a pretty common practice up until 1807. Sailors found dead on the beach were buried in unmarked graves and then abandoned.